And welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode of What's Going On Here. Thank you for joining us once again. My name is Tomo Loverick, or T-Love, as I am known in gopher hunting circles. And with me, as always, I have the young, the aerodynamically sleek, the king without a country, the chancellor without an advisor, the Lord Marshal without an army, the young Mr. Sean Quigley, a.k.a. the Quig, as he is known in ventilator manufacturing circles. How are you, sir? How are you, Sean?
Doing good. Ventilating circles, it's been crazy. You would not believe the uptick in that industry.
Yeah. Yeah, I bet.
Too soon.
Not soon enough.
And with us, as always, we have the, it just occurs to me, Andrew's nickname should be Face, like on the A-Team. He's the guy of the A-Team. He's the one that we show the face because he's just this handsome guy. He makes us a watchable show now, and that's why we're doing this show on YouTube for you in seclusion from COVID. Young Mr. Andrew Albagees, or AA, as he is known in balloon manufacturing circles. How are you, Sir Andrew? How's things in the balloon manufacturing sector right now?
I'm doing well. Sadly, people are throwing less parties due to the COVID incident, and therefore we've taken a little bit of a hit in the balloon manufacturing industry. But we've got a GoFundMe page up and running, and people have been very generous. So.
That's great. That's great. Just to throw an idea out there, sex parties have gotten up higher. Now it's all within the family, but I'm sure if you market it correctly, and you're a marketing guy, you should be able to sell some of these balloons to these sex people in the Midwest.
The majority of the sex parties are taking place via video conference, similar to what we're doing right now. So if anyone has any ideas for balloons in video, how to utilize them best in video chats.
Are you kidding me? Dude, it's almost like the lottery. You put all the balloons and you pop them with pins to see what you get. I mean, we almost had a balloon popping thing with Sean earlier. I mean, we almost got the full prize. So, I mean, there you go.
What are we doing? What are we doing?
Andrew's disgusted. We're 2 minutes into the episode. Andrew's done. All right. Anyway, folks, for those of you that don't know what we do on our show, this is a podcast, but we're doing a video because of COVID, because we have been sequestered with COVID. But however, what we usually do is we find a subject in the popular zeitgeist, something to talk about, we break it down, and most importantly, we review adult beverages. What we are in the middle of, or in the second round of, is what we do annually, is we do the brackets to kind of coincide with the Final Four. Sadly, there's no Final Four, so these are the only brackets in town you want to talk about, except for that lousy backstage. Did you get? I showed you guys that backstage bracket thing, where they had like Beyonce as one of the best actresses of all times on a bracket.
Yeah, it was strange.
But anyway, so we're counting down the top Spielberg movies, okay? And we already did the first round, and what we have in the Elite Eight here is E.T. versus the Temple of Doom, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. The Last Crusade versus Jurassic Park. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, or Kingdom of the Garbage Fire, as I like to call it, versus Raiders of the Lost Ark. And Jaws versus The Color Purple. Those are our Elite Eight before we go and try to determine what is the best Steven Spielberg movie. Now, these are his movies that he directed, and the numbers we got are from U.S. domestic numbers, adjusted for inflation, of course. And that's where we are. And, of course, our adult beverage for this episode, for the second round of the What's Going On Here Best Tournament, is a Brooklyn Lager. Look at that. How do you do? And this is a 5.2% alcohol by volume lager. We will now pop these suckers open in coordinated fashion. Gentlemen, start your bottle caps. Andrew, you want to count us down like last time?
3, 2, 1. Oh.
Oh.
It's the bottle opener.
It's the bottle. Of course it is. Of course.
Maybe it's science. You're the science guy, Tomo. In my screen, my Brooklyn Lager is backwards, but all yours is forwards.
No, mine's backwards on mine.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? It
right way around.
Just a mirror image of your own, because right now yours are forward and mine is backwards.
Interesting.
You see that?
Cheers.
Oh yes. Cheers, gents. Cheers. Oh, look at this. That's a lovely amber color. It looks like somebody has a cold and peed. This is really, really okay. This is all right. I'm gonna taste this lager. This is a nice lager. Kind of decent carbonation, not bad. Flavorful. I'd say the Sam Adams lager is better. Just offhand here, but a very drinkable lager nonetheless.
Mm-hmm.
All right, gentlemen, let's just dive right into it. Who are we going? Left to right, right to left, bottom to top? What are we doing? How are we breaking this down?
Same order as we did last round.
You want to do the same order? All right. So that puts us E.T. versus the Temple of Doom.
Oh. Who wants to start?
Andrew, why don't you start since I'm chewing?
All right. This is a tough one. E.T. versus Temple of Doom. So in the last round, I did vote against Temple of Doom. But again, I will say Temple of Doom is a great movie. And while people, like we said last time, sometimes people kind of shit on it as being the worst indie movie, and we all agree it's still a great movie. All of that said, E.T., as I got into a little bit in the last round, I think is one of Spielberg's greatest movies. I don't know. There's something about it that for me is a sort of genre-defining film in a lot of ways. It's got like almost a magical quality, a very like uplifting, feel-good quality to it. I don't know. That for me is arguably one of his best movies. So love Indiana Jones. And again, I think Temple of Doom is much better than it ever gets credit for. But I gotta definitely go with E.T.
Okay. Sean?
I've not seen E.T. in many years, actually. Not since I was a kid. Again, it's one of those movies my wife doesn't want to watch. She saw clips of it when she was a kid, saw a little bit, and it creeped her out. Like, she was a sensitive kid, and she just remembers the government coming, and she remembers it being scary, and she's not interested. So, but
C. Thomas Howell, by the way, I discovered. I did not know he was in it.
Who?
C. Thomas Howell was in it. Ray Don Chong's husband.
I have no idea who either of those people are.
He was Pony Boy in the Outsiders, the movie that came out in the 80s with all of the like Tom Cruise, Patrick Swayze, Matt Dillon, Emilio Estevez, like the new Rat Pack.
Yeah.
C. Thomas Howell was in that.
Oh,
anyway,
okay. Yeah, I loved E.T. as a kid. I think it was great, and I think without E.T. we wouldn't have a lot of the things we have now. Stranger Things would be, there are other movies. I'm trying to think of the chronology. I was trying to think earlier. I was trying to put in my head Goonies, Goonies, E.T. and Gremlins. As far as
Goonies, it's E.T., Gremlins, Goonies. Goonies was like 85, I think.
Okay. So E.T. definitely kicked this off then, because I was thinking this earlier when we were talking about E.T. In the last episode. There are movies I think I prefer that are in the same world. I personally prefer Gremlins to E.T. It's different because it's more adult, but in that kind of world. And I personally prefer Goonies for the same reason. And I think there are more seminal movies family movies of the time that are better, like Back to the Future. You know, I think there are other important movies that are better movies, but I really loved E.T. as a kid. And there's so many just iconic moments, whether it's the ET stuff or just the bike, even like, you know, the Amblin.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
That's very
like,
unfounded.
and I think it has to win over Indiana Jones almost just for the score. Like, just because we have the Raiders March, we have Indiana Jones with the other movies, but if you take away ET, you don't have that. It's just it's like so. Yeah, it's almost one of the best montage movies for that. I think of all the Spielberg movies that you could put into like a 15-second trailer montage. You just play that music and you see him first discovering E.T. and then be like E.T. and then flying over and then be like, "Don't take him away, he's mine." And it, like, you could snip it in and they'll be like, E.T.
Yeah.
Like there's so many
I
great.
mean, like I said, I thought the movie was actually a very schlocky movie in terms of like from an adult perspective, because I have never seen E.T. before I watched it for this.
Did you see the audition footage? It's now very famous of him auditioning, Henry Thomas.
Henry Thomas? No.
E.T.?
Worth watching. It came out a few years ago when they did like DVD footage for it or something, and now it's kind of famous. It went around the internet a lot.
No,
They cast another kid. It's very much like Back to the Future in that way. They cast another kid as Elliot, and they turned up for the table reads and like rehearsals.
Mhm.
And Spielberg was sitting in a table read, and he, at lunch, they broke for lunch, and he noticed that all the kids were like hanging out and playing with each other, and none of the kids were hanging out with the kid playing with Elliot, who played Elliot. He realized that like this kid, no, the kids don't like him. Like, he's just not like, he was a good performer, he was a good actor, but he just is a bit weird. They don't. He doesn't. He's not a good kid. Like, he's almost like he's too much of an actor. He's not enough of a kid.
Right.
He was like then and there. He's like, he's the wrong kid. We need a kid.
Right.
And they went last minute to try and find a replacement for Elliot. And the producers, they said like, there's this kid we just worked with in this short film. He'd been doing theater down in like Dallas, and they went down to Dallas, and like that weekend, Spielberg flew down to Dallas and screen tested Henry Thomas. And the audition is online. You can watch it, and I recommend it. All it is Spielberg just sets out and he explains to Henry Thomas. He has no idea what it is. He does no lines. He says, "Right, kid, okay, so this is alien, and he's come down, and he's your best friend, and you love this alien, and people have come. These men have come, and they're taking him away, and you don't know why they're taking him away, but they're going to take him away, and you don't want them to. Go." And he just sort of looks down for a minute and then like looks up, this kid on camera, and he just starts crying. And he's just like, "You can't take him away. He's my friend. Like, you can't." And then Spielberg is doing the lines. He's like, "No, but we gotta take it. Sorry, kid, we gotta take him away." And he's just like, "But no, he's my friend." And it's like incredible. And you're watching it, and all of a sudden you hear them crying. Spielberg and like whoever it is in the room, they all start crying. And then literally Spielberg breaks. This is like 15 seconds of the audition. Spielberg just goes, "You got it, kid. You got it."
That's awesome.
Only time ever he's ever in the room, he's just cast someone on the spot. It was like, the role is yours, and it's incredible. And I think so much of why that movie is so good comes down to that.
Yeah,
that is a really touching thing. I'm still voting for Temple of Doom because I thought it was just schlocky and shit. But I mean, but since you guys are both voting for E.T., E.T. goes on. I thought, like I said, again, what I love doing these exercises because you really get to just see how the different either directors approach it or what the director's approach is. I thought this one in particular is really good as a study for Steven Spielberg because, like I said, to me, what stands out to me about Spielberg's work is mood and character.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I mean, sometimes it works fantastically, like Saving Private Ryan. It's a character study, the whole movie. like from one character to the other, like all the guys in the unit. Tom Hanks as the captain, you know, even when they get to what's his face, Ryan at the end, you know, like, and his unit, like, who's the guy in charge? Oh, this dude who's a corporal who's like 22 because everyone else is dead because we've been trying to save this bridge kind of stuff. E.T. I thought was, especially towards the end, like when they're riding and the Amblin symbol with the bike and just flying and all of that, it just evokes a good feeling. I mean, and there's young Drew Barrymore. She was cute as a button. She was fantastic in it. Henry Thomas was fantastic in it. His brother was good in it. All the kids, like I said, I said that in the first round. This is the only movie I think I've ever seen where all the kids outacted all the adults. Like the adults were like, their acting was passing at best compared, like the mother, I thought she was terrible. It was like, are you their mother or the babysitter? Who are you? I mean, it was just really just not, you know, the whole thing. My dad's in Mexico, and it was just like, whatever. Okay. But I mean, I see why people have such a nostalgic memory of it, because especially if you saw it as a kid, I didn't. I saw it the first time a couple of weeks ago, and I'm a middle-aged, you know, zilch. So, I mean, who cares what I think? But I mean, I thought Temple of Doom as a movie viewing fan, Temple of Doom to me is way more entertaining and way more engaging than E.T. was. E.T. evokes way better happy feelings, you know, make you sad, all that stuff. I'd vote for Temple of Doom, but I'm not gonna be upset about E.T. going on. Yeah?
E.T.
All right. All right,
Hey,
now here's the tough one. Yeah?
When Sean, you were talking about the score, it got me thinking of just a fun fact I wanted to throw out there. Of all the movies on our list, all 16 of them, The Color Purple is the only film that wasn't scored by John Williams. Every other one on this list, and pretty much with the exception of a couple here and there, almost every movie that Spielberg has done, John Williams has scored.
That's interesting because now that you mention it, I couldn't even tell you what the score for Color Purple was.
It's great. It's really great. It has a John Williams-y vibe to it in a way. And I only think I'm really realizing that because I was looking it up before I watched Color Purple. I was looking up, okay, who did this score? Every movie I watched, and it was John Williams. So before I watched Color Purple, I was like, did he do this too? Because otherwise he would have done everything on the list. And I saw that he didn't. I'll pull it up because we'll give a shout out to the gentleman who did. But so then I was kind of like hyper aware watching the movie, trying to pay attention to the score, maybe more than I would have. And it's unique to this movie, but it does have a John Williams-y sort of vibe in a way. Let me see, I'll pull it up. Quincy Jones did the score for The Color Purple.
That makes sense.
It's a good movie. It's funny. That makes sense. Yeah. I miss John Williams though. I miss the cinematic scores. Like I said, give me a good cinematic Williams-esque score in a movie. It makes
I mean, think about it. Jaws. Think about the mood that set.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
I'm just
Raiders, all of them. Yeah. E.T. in particular.
Like if I have to sit through the fucking Oscars and see like Usher nominated for best fucking score or whatever the crap that they usually give a pop star, and they're like, Bruno Mars did the score to this.
No, he didn't. Bruno Mars did the line to this, not the score.
It's like now that best original song is more important than best score now at the Oscars because that's where the money is. And it's so bullshit. It's like there were never used to be original songs in movies. Who gives a fuck? Like, unless it's a musical, just make a musical.
You know, I mean, that being said, it's hilarious how people will just go to a movie theater to watch a live orchestra play the scores while the movie's in the background. Because that's a thing now. That's been around actually for a good 10, 15 years where they're like, oh, come see Star Wars and, you know, the Philadelphia Philharmonic will be playing it live there. Like, what?
I've been wanting to do one of those. I've never been. It sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Especially for like Star Wars or a great movie like that with a great score. I'd love to see that.
Oh,
Yeah,
The
absolutely.
Pot is Big, the Lord of the Rings, all those ones. They love doing
Yeah.
that.
All right. So then the next one is, so E.T. goes on. E.T.'s our first Final Four.